Mulder and Scully investigate the unseen on the midnight streets of LA. What they didn't expect was to be on television assisting the local PD film a popular television show.
Will they be able to stop this mysterious killer? More importantly, can they do it without looking stupid?
This is not happening.
Oh, Mulder and Scully. Scully is
Mulder and Scully.
the shining moment of this episode. I mean, it's all great. Let's be straight here. This episode is fantastic. So no doubt anyone who's listening to us knows X-Cops is where it's at.
They should have just done the whole series like this, honestly.
This is fucking phenomenal.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast with me, Andrew.
Ooh.
This is my good friend, Mike. Look at that. Swung through it.
Yeah, we did an intro.
I did an intro and everything. Tonight, or today, or this morning, depending on when you listen, but for us, it's a tonight. We are going to be reviewing episode 12 of season 7 of the X-Files, X-Cops, written by Vince Gilligan, directed by Michael Watkins. He's done a bunch of them so far. February 2000 is when this one came out. And Mike, do you know how many episodes of Cops have been produced to date? Because
oh my God,
they are on season 37 as of right now.
No, 1,000, 2,000.
It is in between those two extremes.
Really? That's
Yes.
actually less than I thought. Okay, so I'll cut it down the middle, 1,500.
1,500. You overbid. It is 1,231 episodes.
Really?
It premiered on Fox March 11th, 1989. Had a brief hiatus during the George Floyd protests when there was a bit of a thing about policing. But it is now shooting its 37th season. John Langley, the producer of Cops, gave the full cooperation because he loved the idea. So he submitted some of his crew to do the shooting. The crew actually show up in the later part of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, Vince Gilligan had this idea during the 4th season of the X-Files, but
Shot
Scarlett
down.
thought it was a little goofy. But then he relented during the 7th season when they sort of maybe were running a bit thin on ideas.
You know what breaks my heart about that is Chris Carter was pretty much like, yeah, the show's over. So do whatever you want.
You know what? Why not? What are they going to do? Fire us? What are they going to do? Give us another season?
From what I've read about that, like he turned it down at least a couple times. And by the 7th season, Vince Gilligan came back to it. He's like, you know what? The show's about to end. Sure. Maybe it was much more enthusiastic than that. I don't know. But from what I've read, it sounds like that was kind of the case.
Well, but this is the thing with these kind of episodes is and I'll say more about this at the end, but essentially they can only do this kind of episode when they've done a lot of other episodes. Mm-hmm. Like it's got to reach a certain level of success before you can do a parody episode.
Absolutely.
And that this is probably one of the best that they do in the series history. So,
and I'm so glad it's in season 7 because it just shows that the X-Files is still viable, whether or not the last 2 episodes were.
Yeah, those are done. We don't need to talk about them ever again.
This episode is happy.
This episode's great. So I'm assuming you've seen Cops, the show.
No, not at all.
What?
I'm just kidding.
You've seen it. You've definitely.
Of course I've seen it.
Usually it's like on the bar's TV at whatever sports bar you're at.
Right,
It's part of the constant run. But shot handheld was its claim to fame. It was a very early reality TV show, is a reality TV show to this day. You're out in the field. This is for anybody who's listening who's not seen Cops. What is that?
I venture to say is no one.
I got to pad this out a little bit because otherwise our whole episode is going to be 32 minutes.
I will be happy to be done by 8 o'clock.
It's not about you. It's about the listeners. And they don't want to just be like...
Well, they don't want to hear us suck off an episode for 4 hours. So,
but a good 45, I think, is a good happy place. Otherwise they can't finish their cardio routine. They can't get off the Peloton, early. So... the beauty of Cops was that it was super easy to shoot. Like it was a sound guy, it was a video recorder, and it was all shot on video. The X-Files was shot on film. for a long time. And then they eventually switched to high def. But there was a little bit of a concern about shooting the show on video because their editors don't shoot or they don't edit on video. They edit on film. They're more traditional. So I thought this is not going to necessarily give us the quality we want. Also, shooting on video cameras, there's a lot less fidelity in those lenses in how you can shoot with them. So, Michael Watkins and whoever the DOP was on this episode, they were going to have to make some different choices on how they direct it. So it did sort of hold them up. Normally they shoot apparently 3 or 4 pages a day. It took them like 2 hours to do one shot or something. Anyway, it slowed them right up as they had to sort of adapt to the process. It was not easy. Right. But usually, apparently, an X-Files episode requires between 800 to 1,200 cuts, like to merge pieces of footage together to make an episode. The way X-Cops is shot, similar to a Cops episode, long form, lots of long shots, and then they cut them together seamlessly to make it look cinema verite. So it only required 45 cuts in the entire episode.
This had to be one of the easiest episodes to make, except for remembering all dialogue. Yeah, like the dialogue aspect would probably be rough, but this is pretty fucking awesome. And
it's very cool, yeah.
And it feels, I mean, obviously the essence of Cops is captured here. And I think they did such a good job not giving us any inkling as to who the bad guy is. There is no bad guy. And I think that is such a smart idea for this kind of episode because there's no way to really do it if you know who the bad guy is or if you're introduced to the bad guy. There's no way to have that side of the story be told. So it all has to be done over the shoulders of the agents and the cops. So I'm really happy the direction they took on this, and it doesn't lose anything, which is so beautiful.
Mike,
being completely in the dark. Oh, what's up?
Look who has joined us in the chat. It is Emily M 1013.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Welcome.
Now we got to be on our better behavior.
Yeah, well, now you got to get through the episode.
Well, I don't know. It is a terrible episode, X-Cops. I'm going to be going up one side of this episode and down the other.
Well, you know how to do it.
All that to say that I totally agree with everything you just said about the plot and how they had to shoot it. It speaks to a consistency of purpose, which is lacking in some other episodes I won't name, where they thought everything about how this episode was going to have to work, and then they plugged it into the production and the script, and it's kind of perfect. So that is the beginning of the fellatio. Shall we continue the fellatio of X-Cops?
Absolutely.
All right. It starts with a white text on black screen, which is typical for Cops, where it says, "Following is a special episode of The X-Files. Viewer discretion is advised."
Love that they use the voice.
They use the same voice. Well, they had access to John Langley's whole crew, so he gave them everything they needed, including their announcer guy. The montage of law enforcement scenes shot handheld with the iconic soundtrack of Bad Boys by Inner Circle. It looks like a standard episode of Cops, except it's a little different. We see Mulder and Scully among the police. This isn't going to be your standard X-Files episode. After the Cops intro, we fade into a night shot with a full moon in Willow Park, California. We're riding along with Deputy Keith Wetzel, remarking to his ride-along cameraman that people get a little crazier during the full moon, and he doesn't know why. He's glad to be patrolling the streets during the full moon. He thinks it makes people feel a little easier. He gets a report on his car's dash, reports of a person lurking around a neighborhood. He smirks that it's been described as a monster and puts the car into gear as he drives over. Arriving at the destination, he gets out, pulling his gun and flashlight and walking around, shining the light across the darkened urban street. The cameraman follows. Wetzel reports in. There's no sign of a lurker, and he asks dispatch to call the lady who reported the incident and let her know he's outside. He approaches the door, seeing what looks like scratch marks on the green front door. He knocks, announcing himself. The lady comes to the door, frantic and speaking in Spanish. She's insistent there's a monster and closes the door on him. Wetzel hears somebody in the alley, charges over, demanding the person freeze. The cameraman stays away, and we hear a scuffle, and suddenly Wetzel emerges, grabbing the cameraman and screaming at them to run back to the car. At the car, Wetzel tosses the cameraman inside, jumping in and driving away, screaming at dispatch for assistance. Suddenly, the car is pummeled, the glass smashing inward, the car being turned over as the camera records it all. And we go to credits.
Excellent.
Wow.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I love it. And just for production note, I don't know if anyone knows this or not. When he rounds the car to get into the driver's seat, that's the cue for the stuntman to get in. So it's just a nice little sweep of switcheroo of who's actually in the car. And they roll the car over in real time, which is really cool.
And then the handheld quality is what really makes it work. Like if you had done a usual shot for the X-Files, it would be a lot harder to do. Like you're looking at triangle level of setting up shots to get these fake long shots.
Yeah.
But here, no, they can get away with a lot with very little. And it's interesting that to both Duchovny and Anderson said that it was a lot more like shooting or doing a theater piece because they can rely on short scenes in film, right? You know, you're doing some dialogue back and forth over the shoulder shots, but you can always cut, take another take, whatever. But these takes are so long. You know, they'd have to mark off a lot of stuff. They'd have to have a lot of dialogue in their minds. So it was probably a lot more challenging for them.
Did you know Wetzel is a soap actor?
I did not. And I was hoping that you would do a Mike thing and tell us more about this guy.
No, he is a soap actor. And this was one of his forays into what I'm going to call real acting. maybe that's mean. I don't know. Ooh. But he does a fantastic job. I believe everything that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, he's convincing as the earnest green police deputy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we go on after the credits here?
Absolutely.
The action immediately continues. Cameraman and Wetzel emerge from the car, which is now flipped over. Wetzel's been cut. Other cops are arriving, spreading out. Sergeant, a black woman named Duthie, asks if he flipped his car. Initially, Wetzel doesn't say anything, but when Duthie suggests it might have been gangbangers, Wetzel agrees. Duthie asks Wetzel how many there were, and again, Wetzel hesitates. He didn't get a good look. Suddenly, call comes in over the radio. Armed suspects on foot. Cops charge off on foot, pursued by the camera crew. Around the corner, the cops and several cop cars arrive, complete with a helicopter in the air. When the camera arrives, a dozen cops have their guns pointed at two people, a man and a woman we know and love, FBI Special Agents Scully and Mulder. What an entrance these two make, eh?
I love that they're running down the street. All the footfalls you hear is so cops. It's not even...
Yeah. It's like so perfect.
The cameraman running with a troop of police officers down the streets of LA. And then they come across the agents being arrested pretty much, or detained, I should say.
You know, they've got 11 years worth of episodes to use as a reference manual for what the episode has to look like. So you got to imagine that they're like, yeah, John Langley's saying, we always have a running scene because it's so visceral and, you know, the audience is right there with the cops. Anyway, it's perfect. So the cops confirm the agent's identification, give them their guns back, and everyone relaxes a little bit. The two are working on a case, same case these cops are working on. Mulder suddenly realizes there's a camera crew recording, suddenly a little sheepish after he responds to the cop that they're not looking for a who, but a what. So we return to the initial house with the green door, complete with slash marks on it. Mulder is looking at them, and then he goes to speak with Deputy Wetzel. Wetzel is pretty cagey about what he's seen, and Mulder gives us a bit of context about why they're here.
From moment one, Scully's hiding her face, and it becomes a running gag. And when the camera glances at her at the ambulance, and she just ducks behind the doors, she can't be seen. Twice.
It's awesome.
It's so good.
Well, I mean, it's pretty dark, and I didn't really see. I don't know. Well, you must have seen something in order to run away from it. Huh? You were responding to the same call we were, of a monster prowling the neighborhood.
We've been to this house before. The lady has a history of medication. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe, but she's not the only one seeing monsters. There's been half a dozen such sightings in this area in the past 60 days. Were you aware of that? No. Yeah. Also, these sightings only occur on nights when there's a full moon, which tells me something.
What?
What you saw was large, right? Maybe 7 to 8 feet tall when it stood up on its 2 legs, and it was covered in fur, and had glowing red eyes and claws. Claws sharp enough to gouge the wood off that front door.
You're not serious.
And dare I forget teeth. It bit you, didn't it? Yeah, look at that. Deputy, how long were you gonna hide that from the EMTs?
I don't, you know.
Where'd you get that key?
I don't even know where that came from. I mean, I didn't see anything that he's talking about.
Big teeth, 8 feet tall. What the hell are you describing?
A werewolf?
Excuse me.
It's what did that. It also attacked one Hyman Escalera 29 days ago during the last full moon. Hyman died of his wounds in Compton General Hospital, but not before giving a detailed description of what attacked him. My partner and I are here to catch it.
So, yeah, I didn't notice it before, but Scully hiding behind the ambulance, so just constantly turning her face away. So perfect.
So good. She is peak Scully in this episode where she's pissed off. Not pissed off. She's bothered by this whole thing. And now that she's on TV, she can't stand it. So
yeah,
she's not going to be represented as a nutbag.
Well, yeah, and for all the world to see, too. Mulder goes on to describe how Wetzel's been bitten by a werewolf, and that werewolf lore universally holds that someone who's been bitten by a werewolf becomes a werewolf. So Wetzel's going to need to be held in isolation for his own safety. Needless to say, Sergeant Duthie is not buying it, and Scully chooses his moment to pull Mulder aside, seeing the usual train wreck approaching. Scully notes that they're being recorded. The crew chooses to follow the two of them as Scully continuously pulls them further and further away multiple times. She doesn't like that they're being recorded. It could ruin his career. And while Mulder likes the idea that proof of the paranormal might be recorded and shown to an international audience, Mulder goes on to speak with a lady who phoned in the incident. Scully's going to chat with Skinner about the idea. Yeah, all of this is great stuff. So perfect and on brand.
I like that she's going to call Skinner and he's going to shoot her down. That might be the ultimate Skinner, I've got your back moment. I'm going to let you do an X-File in front of the world on live television. I believe in you, Mulder. This is his definitive moment, I think, Skinner.
Oh, I love that it's not even about that, though. That the callback is the FBI has nothing to hide.
Right.
What, am I really going to shut down the free press? I don't think so.
It's like Mulder taking the liberty to talk to the press during the Amberlynn LaPierre case. Skinner's just like, I've made the choice that the FBI doesn't care about this. You go ahead and film on live television.
I'm already doing other stuff. So the lady in the house, Mrs. Guerrero, again repeats frantically what she experienced. Deputy Juan Molina, translating, tells everyone present that it was a claw monster. It was trying to break into her house to get to her. Mulder asks the sketch artist, Ricky, to sit with her and draw it, to everyone's skepticism. Again, Mulder shows off the claw marks on the door, and then produces for Sergeant Duthie a sketch produced by Hyman Escalera prior to his death. It is definitely a werewolf. Ricky finishes his sketch. It's Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. Ricky's a bit freaked out, asking for a walk to his car, and can he keep the bulletproof vest for a while? Meanwhile, Mrs. Guerrero pleads with Mulder to catch Mr. Krueger, to which Mulder nervously nods. I have a sense you loved the Freddy Krueger moment.
Not just that, but the speed with which that picture was supposedly drawn. It's like
he had a hat.
Go take the description, and a minute later, at the most, it's here. It is.
Yeah. She just said Freddy Krueger, so I did this up, and she loved it
with enough shading, very nice, artistic. Oh man.
The total police car is such a great bit of set dressing because you heard in our clip, like there's the sound of the car being turned back onto its tires. Mm-hmm. And it's just so casual. Like, again, the level of production for that, they're doing a scene and then on cue, the car has to smash in, which you can arrange, obviously, but it's just so well choreographed. And it's going to happen again because the car is being pulled up onto a tow truck as the camera crew focuses in on Scully again. So she's cleared Wetzel to be released. they weren't teeth marks, but insect bites, and she implies that they only looked like bite marks because Mulder was looking for that pattern. Skinner has suggested that the FBI has nothing to hide, so it looks like they're going to be cooperating with the cops' crew. Suddenly, call comes in. 6 blocks from here, another incident. Scully and Mulder jump back in their car, and the camera crew tries to join them, but Scully tells them to find another ride.
No, that's not what she says. She says no and closes the door. You were so nice about it. You're trying to give her a little bit more care than she showed the cameraman.
Gentlemen, could you not ride with us, very please, and thank you? That's great. Bye.
That's one interpretation of what happened.
Yeah. It's a delightful relationship that she has with the camera guys. It develops over this episode.
So good.
Yeah. So we join the crew as they run with the cops, arriving at the crime scene. Ricky, the sketch artist, is slumped beside a building, still wearing his bulletproof vest and not looking very alive. Scully pushes through to examine him. She's a doctor. He's got slash marks on his vest, and when Scully pushes it, they ooze blood. We fade to our first commercial mic, which has a new style for this episode, the X-Files logo with flashing red and blue lights. So they've made their own hybrid Cops X-Files logo.
Yep.
And I love it. I heart it so much.
It's still on brand, too, because if you never think about it, but the X in the X-Files is very similar to the Cops logo itself. So, yeah
I like fair. I
the typeface, I guess. Not exact.
The font they've used. The method by which they go out too, where you see the visual and you hear a bit of their commentary underneath. It's so perfect to what the cop show is, and yet it's still providing you plot. You know, it's nothing hugely important, but it's still like, oh, I didn't see that coming or whatever. You know, it's like there's some good juice there. It's so like
you have to go full in. You have to go all in on something like this. So they have to take those elements from Cops and create the X-Files around it.
Yeah.
But they do so in embracing every element that is Cops. So that fade out to the title while they're still talking, while the case, the audio is still there. It's just a small detail, but it's excellent.
It's so good. Well, we come back, the full moon in the night sky over a liquor store. Deputy Wetzel is speaking with the camera crew, describing how the loss of a fellow officer, or in this case, someone working part-time with the department in an artistic capacity, well, they all feel it. It's every cop's worst nightmare. But then you got to cowboy up, give 150% to catch the bad guys. Mulder and Scully review the scene, seeing Ricky's sketch of Freddy Krueger. Ricky had a flat tire and called for roadside assistance, the last call he ever made, apparently. Scully finds a fake pink fingernail on the ground. Mulder asks who called 911, which brings us to our next scene, the home of Steve and Edie. Nearby neighbors, very gay, who are good folks, call the police if there's ever trouble in the neighborhood. I'm not familiar with these two characters outside of this show. Do they exist elsewhere in television and I just missed it?
You mean the characters themselves? Or the actors?
Well, the actors.
Steve and Edie was like a musical group from, let me look it up. Okay. Steve and Edie is not the Steve and Edie that he's talking about. Yeah, okay, looking it up now. Steve and Edie, they're singers. They've got albums. I think that was the joke.
Okay.
It's barely audible, but I think that's what they were going for. I don't think these characters actually exist anywhere else.
Okay, and that's why when Edie is singing, it's what they get. Maybe that's even a Steve and Edie song.
It probably is, yeah.
Yeah, because it didn't mean anything to me, but I'm going to save the hyped up, extra gay early 2000s stereotypes and sum up the scene. They called 911 when they heard a bunch of screaming, seeing Ricky having a conniption fit, all rolled up there by the phone. They didn't see his attacker. And they certainly didn't see either a werewolf or Freddy Krueger when Mulder supplies the sketches. They do match the fingernail supplied by Scully to a streetwalker named Shantara. So that's where we're going to go next. In the car, the crew has finally managed to snag a ride with our agents, and they show off a rap sheet of Shantara. Meanwhile, Mulder nervously chatters on with the camera rolling.
So apparently we're on the lookout for someone whose hair matches her fingernails. Bubblegum pink. That'd be a good color for you, Scully. I'd have to say that at this point in the investigation, I'm usually a little more secure in what it is we're actually investigating, but we've had so many conflicting eyewitness reports that it's hard to ascertain exactly what it is we're looking for. But the crimes we are investigating are paranormal. I can say that with absolute conviction. And the nature of these crimes, they're notoriously hard to quantify on any kind of rigorous scientific level, as Agent Scully will tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which in its own way is a kind of a validation if you think about it in and of itself. But you know, that's our job. That's why they pay us.
That's why they pay us the big bucks. I actually like the aimlessness of that scene. It's like
they're definitely playing up the I've got a monologue for the camera to let them know what we're doing right now and what I'm thinking.
A little bit, but it's still trademark for cops. Like the idea of that they just let the cops probably rattle on for 4 hours, and they choose the nuggets that are going to work for their episode, right? And anyway, just his knowledge that he's on camera and he feels like he needs to act or something. So it's not David Duchovny acting, but it's Mulder acting. The self-referential stuff is very good.
Fucking Mulder.
So they see Shantara and they pull over, chasing her down. And the crew gets out with her. Her face is blurred out in typical cop style. Scully asks to see her hands and confirms that Shantara is indeed missing a fake fingernail. Shantara is freaking out, assuring the two that she tried to help that guy, Ricky, but when she heard sirens, she fled. Mulder reassures her she's not in trouble, that he thinks she saw something that can help them with their investigation into Ricky's death, and that no matter how strange it might sound, Mulder will believe her. Eventually, she trusts Mulder, telling him that it was her boyfriend, Chuko, that killed Ricky. Chuko has been chasing Shantara for a week, telling her he's going to kill her. She doesn't give him more money. Mulder is disappointed. It's not a werewolf or Freddy Krueger, but it does give the police somewhere to go next. It's 11:08, and they're going to serve an arrest warrant on Chuko. The crew records the police arming up for a bit of violent door knocking, and then homes in on Shantara in the back of a police SUV. She's still freaking out. She just wants to go home. But Sergeant Duthie's not convinced there aren't any accessory charges. Shantara is still convinced Chuko is going to kill her, mentioning for a second time that Chuko said he would strangle her like a chicken. But Duthie tries to reassure her, given the number of police that are all around. She's going to be fine. Is she going to be fine, Mike?
No, she's not going to be fine.
No.
Because of extra emphasis on this scene.
Yeah, look how safe you are.
Look how safe you are.
What could happen to you everywhere? In the back of this police cruiser, you're going to be fine. Well, Scully and the crew return to Mulder as they arm up. Mulder is not convinced that Chuko is responsible. Chuko is likely not to be the one that turned over a squad car. The gaggle of police descend upon Chuko's house, smashing their way inside. Eventually, the crew arrives inside, seeing a squalid crack house. The cops have detained one man who's throwing around so much profanity it's just a series of bleeps as they put him in cuffs. In the back of the house, Scully and Mulder discover a dead body. Chuko. It looks like an overdose. Suddenly, outside, gunshots. Our heroes rush outside, the crew chasing the cops to the shots, and we see Deputy Wetzel shooting, seemingly at nothing. Sergeant Duthie demands to know what Wetzel is shooting at. Almost stunned, he responds that it came back. Wetzel heard Shantara screaming and tried to stop it. Looking at the SUV, Mulder sees that Shantara is dead, and again, we fade to our special X-Cops logo.
But her head, it's on backwards.
She's not doing well.
No. How did that happen, Andrew? A couple things to note.
Yep, give it to me.
When Mulder is talking to Shantara, he actually is trying to block the camera from her. So he's trying to calm her down. Yeah, it's a nice little touch. Two,
and you see that in Cops too, right?
Yeah.
That is also something you see in Cops, where the cops try and relate to the innocent passerbys.
Mm-hmm. And then when Scully goes back to Mulder and they're preparing to do the drug bust or whatever, she takes off her jacket and she puts on a flak jacket and she's getting ready to go in. I just thought it was really cool.
Yep.
Preparing. It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
Okay, I had a moment there. I had a little thought that there might be a chink in the armor of this episode, but then I very quickly flushed it aside. I said, no, what am I talking about? No.
Absolutely not.
The thing I will draw attention to is, I mean, we both like this episode because you don't see the bad guy. Mm-hmm. But it can clearly manifest in the real world. It scratches a door, or I should say it slices its talons through a door. It's able to maul a police cruiser and turn it over onto its side. So the argument there would be, how is it stopped from smashing through a household door? But we'll let that one slide. And it's able to slash with more claws through the Kevlar vest of Ricky, the sketch artist. So for right now, it's got a very strict skill set, if you will, or power set. It can manifest in the real world in violent ways.
Yeah.
On board so far?
Yeah, I'm on board. Absolutely.
Okay. So that will become relevant later.
Okay.
All right. We're going to come back from commercial to Sergeant Duthie, who is discussing what happened.
I wish someone would explain to me what the hell is going on here. It just doesn't make sense. Keith Wetzel may be a little green, but he is a solid deputy, a squared-away individual. Nothing could have gotten past him and killed that woman.
There's no sign of what he was shooting at. This was all we found.
9mm. It's our issue.
How did you find that?
It was lying in the middle of the street. Doesn't look like a ricochet.
Maybe Wetzel hit what he was aiming at. Excuse me. Hey, Deputy. You ready to talk to me now? You and I both know you saw something. We're way past claiming you didn't.
I only know what I thought I saw.
Well, describe it for me.
The Wasp Man.
The Wasp Man?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's scary stories my older brother used to tell me when I was a kid about a monster, a head like a wasp, and a mouthful of stingers instead of teeth. He said that it would come get me in my sleep and that it would sting me to death.
So you're saying that the Wasp Man attacked you both times here and earlier in the patrol car?
I'm not saying that that's what it was, okay? I mean, they didn't see it. It's not on the videotape. This can't be real.
No, I think maybe it can. You just relax a minute. Excuse me. Scully?
So the Wasp Man, Mike.
It sounds terrifying. Always wondered what he means by a mouthful of stingers. Is it like a normal human mouth with stingers for teeth? Or is it... I know they said wasp head, but
yeah,
is it like a conal mouth or conal head with like the stingers coming at like a point or something? I don't know. It's just where my head goes.
You don't overthink it, right? So Mulder takes Scully aside and goes through the series of events. Escalara attacked by a werewolf, Wetzel attacked by a wasp man, Mrs. Guerrero attacked by Freddy Krueger. These people were attacked by their worst nightmares. Further, the nightmare appears to have spread from victim to victim, except Scully points out there's a missing link in the chain. Steve and Edie, the gay couple, have not been attacked. So Mulder and Scully and the camera crew head back to Steve and Edie's place. When they arrive, they hear screaming and smash in the door to help. It turns out, however, that it's just a problem with their relationship. According to Edie, Steve isn't treating Edie right, and this scene goes on just longer than is comfortable. Scully finally gets around to the reason that they're there. They think that the couple's proximity to Ricky's death puts them in danger. And I gotta say, Mulder trying to calm down Edie is perhaps one of the more delightful scenes in the show so far.
I love how he starts to lose it as they go to commercial. You see him kind of start laughing. Almost ruined. Scene almost ruined, but perfect.
I mean, it's such a weird moment for them both. It works so well. Well, time has passed and Edie has calmed down, but she's still scared that Steve is going to leave her. Steve comes over and the two reconcile. Oh, that's nice.
Aww.
Outside, cops arrive with another crew. It's Deputy Wetzel. Mulder doesn't think that the entity is coming back here, and since the attacks only happened during the full moon, they only have to wait out another 4 or 5 hours. The agents split up. Scully's going to examine the body of Shantara Gomez, while Mulder is going to partner up with Deputy Wetzel and see if their bad guy comes back. As Scully gets into their car, there's a wonderful moment where her gaze is captured by the camera crew. You can tell she is not loving the idea of them coming with her, but she relents, and the car joins her in her car. This is classic X-Files planning. How are we going to stop the monster? I don't know. I've got guns and my wits, so maybe that's enough. Maybe I'll find a net. I'm thinking of
net.
I'm thinking of the episode where they go out into the woods and the monsters look like trees.
Detour.
Yes. So that is a case where they their plan is that they're going to stick together, and then they break up.
They go off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like that they snuck in an autopsy into cops?
I have no problem with that whatsoever.
That's pretty awesome.
And the way this scene plays out too is also incredible. I will have questions about how the monster works, but I will save them until the end. All right. So Wetzel and Mulder drive around, and Wetzel is surprised that Mulder would believe Wetzel's claims. He doesn't want to have a reputation as a weirdo, something that will dog him within the police force for the rest of his career. And that stress is combined with knowing that there might be someone out there on the street that literally wants to kill Wetzel. And he makes a side comment about, how can you do your job if everyone thinks you're crazy, which you get that response out of Mulder's like, well, tell me about it.
Do you think when those kids are crossing the road that this is legitimate and he waves them on?
How do you mean?
They're obviously...
You normally run them over?
No. They're really driving. The camera's there. Do you think they had a whole block taped off or something? Which is very possible.
Yes.
But
I do think they this is Vince Gilligan, the guy who was weaving in the rescue of the destroyed police cruiser into a scene. I can totally see them introducing that little bit of. It looks so casual,
very natural. Yeah.
But also,
that's probably props to Vince Gilligan and the crew. But yeah,
absolutely.
I'm almost like
actually having that guy do the driving in a scene.
I would like to think so in this moment. I feel like he is doing the driving, but he probably isn't. You're right.
That is just props to how realistic they made it look, and that he has, that they've blocked that scene so that they have a moment where he stops and waves people through. And he's a nice guy. I think that little subtle touch shows us that this is a guy who cares about his community. It's well done.
Absolutely.
So, over at the morgue, Scully is examining the body alongside the coroner's assistant. Nice woman. Shantara seems to have been killed by strangulation. The assistant remarks that the rumor is her pimp killed her beyond the grave, and that there could be a contagion in the body. Scully dismisses all these claims, and while Scully takes photos, the assistant correctly notes that if there was a contagion, they should be at least wearing masks, right? I mean, why the rush? Why the camera crew? And there are murder victims stacked 3 deep in the freezer. What's the urgency with this Shantara chick? And why did Scully mention the hantavirus? The coroner's assistant sneezes twice, alarmed that she sneezed up blood. Her eyes roll back into her head and she collapses, convulsing. Scully demands the crew call 911. We again fade to our ex-cop's logo. What did you think of that whole scene? Because props to the woman playing the coroner's assistant. There's just the right amount of paranoia going on there.
She just keeps coming back to the hantavirus. For the love of God, I'm sorry I said it. No, I think it escalates just enough, and it takes us to where we need to be. You know, it's confirmation of Mulder's theory, and the monster doesn't have to be a monster. That's how clever this is she's not afraid of the boogeyman. She's afraid of contagion.
Yeah.
So it can manifest within her. We don't need to see a monster, and she dies right in front of our eyes. So I think it's a very clever way to escalate the tension and, you know, move the plot along.
So this is where I would start having questions about the nature of the monster, in that they have already kind of established that the fear is the vector, and that it sort of transfers from person to person. Mm-hmm. And the implication is that it has transferred through Scully to this coroner's assistant. Or maybe I suppose it could have transferred from Shantara to the coroner's assistant. But that spread is important to the episode.
Yeah.
And it can materialize in the world, or it can be present in the world because it can get shot by bullets. That seems to have been established. But in this moment, it isn't seemingly a physical thing. It's more of a mental thing. So there is a little bit of inconsistency as to how the monster works. I didn't note it in the time because it's just an amazing episode. But as I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, well, is it physical or not? And how does it move around? Or more importantly, if it sort of is like a contagion, if it is spreading through people, and wouldn't there be a lot of people dying to the point where it's like, no, it's hard to keep this a secret now. You know, now it's every full moon, there's this pattern of deaths that can't be explained. You know, it would be a big deal, but clearly it's not.
I don't know that I get lost in the weeds on exactly how it moves from person to person. There's just enough here to make me go, that makes sense. Or that makes enough sense. The fact that it does move from person to person and they're tied to the case is important, I think. Because it killed Shantara, I'm willing to make the mental leap that fear is still tied to her in some capacity. You know, the fear killed her because the being is around. It can leap from her to the coroner's assistant. Do you
think it's gone through Shantara, not through Scully?
I don't think it's gone through Scully because she's not afraid for her life. And
no, I agree. I buy it better that there is a lingering malignancy in Shantara that's bleeding out and affecting the coroner's assistant.
And I think, just to tie this up, I guess, I think the idea of this being doesn't necessarily, for me, mean that it is literally jumping from person to person. I think because, as they describe, you know, it's the full moon, this thing only comes out whenever this happens. It is an entity, but I think it's more like I picture it of like an area of effect during the full moon here. So it could literally show itself anywhere, but because this case is happening and they happen to be dealing with a bunch of paranoid people, that, you know, they're able to follow it in more of a linear fashion.
Right.
Not that it really matters, but
no, but it does. Listen, context is important, I think. And we are given this very tight window into the world, which makes it work so well. You know, you are forced to look at a very small window on the world here. And there's not enough time to pull back and sort of examine the fuller picture. But clearly there was an issue 29 days ago when dude was killed by the werewolf, and that's what brought our agents out here. So
right.
Well, back from commercial, Scully desperately is trying to convince Mulder, Sergeant Duthie, and other folks in the room that this was not the hantavirus. Symptoms came on too fast, and the hantavirus does not kill this way. In fact, no virus can work this fast. Mulder tries to make sense of it. This thing, whatever it is attracted to fear. But Scully retorts that she's been there. She didn't see anything. Camera crew didn't see anything. Scully wasn't afraid, at least not for her life. Mortal fears, says Mulder. That's what it's coming down to. Why else would this creature be drawn to a high-crime neighborhood? Mulder immediately wonders where Wetzel is. He's on his own, back on patrol. Which is going to lead us into our final act.
Another thing you don't even fucking think about.
What's that?
Mulder joins Wetzel, and you don't even question that nothing shows up. And then when they point it out, you're like, oh, that makes sense. He had backup. He wasn't afraid.
That's right. He had a partner. Cut back to Wetzel with the camera crew. So camera crew doesn't count, apparently. 4:48 a.m., they're pulling back up to Chuko's crack house. This is a good recycling of locations. Wetzel and the crew get out and walk up to the house, which has been sealed with yellow advisory tape. Wetzel shines his light around, which immediately starts to fail. They don't make him like they used to. They hear some noises. Wetzel decides it's time to leave, which is exactly when the door slams shut and refuses to open. The three of them struggle to open the door, the camera crashing to the floor. Back in Mulder and Scully's car, the team rushes to Wetzel's last reported location, the crack house. Everyone rushes to the front door, and it's stuck fast. Sergeant Duthie calls for a battering ram while Mulder and Scully and the camera crew run around back. Entering through the dilapidated doorways, they hear the front door being battered continuously. The back door slams shut, and the agents proceed inside. They open a closet, revealing the first camera crew, who screams. Scully slams the door back on them with, "I hate you guys."
So good.
The team proceeds upstairs as the battering ram continues to hammer on the front door. Mulder and Scully hear Wetzel screaming for help from a bedroom. Mulder screams at him not to be afraid, that that's what this thing wants. Plus, he's on national TV, so cowboy up. Mulder fruitlessly tries to open the door until suddenly it opens. The two enter. Wetzel's still alive, and they hear the battering ram finally make it through the front door. Mulder notes that the sun has just come up. Later, Wetzel is rolled out on a gurney as Mulder and Scully wrap up the episode. Either Wetzel stopped it, or it just disappeared with the sunrise. Mulder didn't get the proof he wanted, but almost optimistically, Mulder notes that, really, it all depends on how they, the camera crew, edit it all together.
Oh boy.
That, Mike, is the end of the episode.
Excellent.
Do you have anything you wanted to wrap up in that little roller coaster of a moment there?
I mean, we don't need to go into a whole lot. We've made it very clear that we love this episode. It is a tour de force of writing and acting. And what I will do is give the actors and actresses their recognition that they all deserve. Aside from the agents,
you don't even see them as actors. Yeah.
Judson Mills, who plays Wetzel. And I was a little not dismissive, but a little, incorrect in what I remembered about him. He definitely was on soap operas, but he does a lot of actual acting. Many projects, and he's still working today. Dee Freeman, who plays Duthie, I love her in this episode. She does great job. I completely believe her as this sheriff or sergeant. And J.W. Smith, who plays Steve, Curtis Jackson, who plays Edie. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Oh yeah. Everybody nails it in this one.
Everyone's so good in this episode. So we don't need to go hog wild on this episode, but love it.
Well, what did you think? I will go hog wild on one thing. What did you think of the monster's sudden ability to lock the doors?
I figured you'd have something to say. I mean, if you really want to pick it apart, I guess that is convenience. Mm-hmm. We will say that, they weren't able to get to Wetzel and it stopped Wetzel from escaping. Do we have anything to the contrary that it can't do that? No. And it's not so ridiculous or so egregious that I would go, well, that's stupid. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's stupid. I think there are plenty of forces in this world on the X-Files that could do this. So, well, but if it is a flaw, it's a small one.
I'm only bringing it up because in recent memory, even with the Snakes in the Bayou episode, the Church of Signs and Wonders one.
Yes.
the antagonist there is suddenly able to slam the door shut and keep them super locked for the duration
but
the
he's
narrative
Satan.
Requires. He's Satan, though, I suppose. So, yeah, okay.
I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, it is a new power per se. You know, maybe he's just pissed off enough that this guy's escaped twice. He's going to make sure he doesn't get out this time.
Yeah, maybe. That is the only thing I could even attempt to pick a nit on in this one. I have no negative notes through this entire episode, not a one. The only thing I'd say is the episode isn't possible to do without 7 seasons of regular X-Files episodes. I mean, Humbug, Jose Chung, several other poking fun of episodes. They stand out because X-Files is making a parody of itself, but by combining it with another timeless format, Cops TV show, it becomes high art. Yeah. Top it off with a self-referential narrative. The show succeeds or fails based on how it's edited together. It's almost perfect. I love this episode. And like Emily says in chat,
yeah.
Top 10. Yeah.
We're both getting to the chat. Top 10 episode. Very easy to believe. I don't know that I've actually written my top 10 episodes out, but I would not doubt this is in there. Totally agree with that statement. There is actually a comment. Let me pull that up here.
What?
Kevin Moran says, initially I did not expect to like X-Cops. The idea of a crossover with Cops seemed too gimmicky and out of character for a show like The X-Files. However, the execution of the episode is outstanding with that great mix of suspense and comedy found in the great X-Files episodes. X-Cops is one of my favorite episodes of the entire series, and I never tire of watching it. Unfortunately, it's followed up by possibly my most disliked episode of the entire series. Damn.
Well, who's looking forward to that, everybody? That's going to be great.
Yeah, keep your boots on for fucking first-person shooter. That's coming up next week. Oh, boy.
Wait a second. Who gets to... Oh, I have to host
Honestly, I don't remember
okay.
who does it.
I'm sure I'm going to have no trouble with first... Maybe I should make it a challenge to just love
only
everything
say positive things. That's the challenge.
I'm going to say only positive things, but the things that I like. Or at least I'm going to do that thing where it sounds like a compliment, but it's actually thinly veiled criticism.
Backhanded compliments the entire episode. Go. That is your chore. Your fucking homework.
They thought so much about this scene. It makes other scenes look pale by comparison.
They put so much work into the sound editing of this episode that the actual episode itself fails.
The continuity in this scene is amazing. Yeah, that's where.
Well, now we gotta record that. So, well, I'm good with X-Cops. If you
yeah, I'm amazing, and thus, Mike, you get the final word on this one.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for watching / listening to this episode. We know this one was just a little bit shorter than last week's. So if you find yourself alone at night on the full moon, don't be afraid, because you will be killed by the Wasp Man. Or Freddy Krueger. Or the Wolfman. Or a Contagion. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.